Huh, I made it. Okay, sorry guys. I have just tried to recreate this video stream 3 times and finally it went through. So I'm so sorry about that. But we are now officially live. Only 12 minutes late. So I'll keep this fast. I just did a little bit of my makeup today with the new bronzers and highlighters. And then some of my famous paparazzi pink lipstick. But as you guys know, if you didn't get your order in right away for the bronzers, there was an issue with some people getting them broken. So they have put a pause right now, just a pause on it until they can figure out what the problem is. So just saying that's an issue. Okay. All right. So let's get going. Grab your note paper, your Boss Babes packet. I couldn't think of it. And we are going to watch our ladies. Okay, just wanted to get it on the right one. Okay, we are going to watch Dawn Otten-Sweety. Dawn Otten-Sweety. And we are going to share our screen. And this is class number 5.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Boss Babe Trailblazer Edition. And I could not be more excited that Karen Rydell asked me to participate in this. And it's not by accident. It's not by accident that you're listening and you're in Mary Kay right now. And it's not by accident that Karen asked me. And all the speakers are going to serve a role in this. I promise you. Because you are part of a trailblazing DNA pioneering opportunity mission field for women. And God had to remind me about this feature of our DNA when COVID-19 happened. Pandemic happened. World shut down. My husband owns a gym and conditioning facility. We live in Michigan. Our state was closed down the soonest and possibly the longest. His business was one of the first to go. And at that point in time, I was not a digital diva. I could not have done this. I didn't have a laptop. I had a hard drive the size of a dishwasher in my home, hooked up to the wall that me and my assistant worked on because I've been in Mary Kay 38 years. Our trailblazing was done in cars, in airplanes, hotel rooms, training centers, women's kitchen tables, offices, etc. And all of a sudden, we are sitting in our tiny little unrenovated 60-year-old lake house. And I'm realizing, well, okay, well, the majority of my income is not made from selling this product. And if we can't get product and my people can't get product, there's no income coming into our family at all. That's kind of a scary thought that I've never had in my 4 years up to that point in time. But what God reminded me is that you have been a trailblazer, you have been a pioneer all along. You were warm booked in a mall. You were raised to do a good job and get in a great school and have a good job and be a good person and go to church on Sunday and Monday through Friday, work hard and raise your family if you could figure out as a woman how to do that around that schedule. And Saturday have recreation, work to retire, have some great vacation time in between. That's what I was raised for. And then all of a sudden, I'm realizing with this job out of college that this is get up, go to work, come home, watch TV, eat dinner, go to bed. Get up, go to work, come home, watch TV, eat dinner, go to bed. At the city they choose, regardless of what's going on in my life, it doesn't matter what's going on with, my family or my husband or my kids to be or aging parents or the part of the country, doesn't matter. This is the job you're supposed to do, period, the end. And there's something about that that didn't settle well with me. I didn't like making less than men for doing the same job. I didn't like that someone else had control over my time and my finances versus my willingness and my coachability and my dreams and goals. And so, voila, sitting in a mall in the middle of the day, I was warm booked to be a face model for a new consultant's portfolio. Debbie Moore made her talk to me because that new consultant, Nancy Murata, was very shy. Nancy came to my apartment, me and my roommate tried the skincare, bought basic skincare, blush rouge, yellow concealer, and loved it. And then she invited me to an event. And at that event, that's where I started to get the inkling, like, I think this is my tribe. Like, I think these are the women I'm supposed to be with. Like, they're encouraging each other. I never, ever felt like I fit in with any group. I could hang out with all the different groups, but never felt like I fit in. Until in Mary Kay, oddly, I did feel like I fit in. And it wasn't because we were the same age, education, language, body shape, makeup preference. Nope. There was something about this tribe that I went, and I realized, looking back, they were trailblazers. They were women from 18 to 90, PhDs, GEDs, moms of 10 kids, single women, divorced, widowed, living all little towns, big towns, extroverted, introverted, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But they had a desire to blaze a new trail, to be a pioneer. And Mary Kay gave them the mission as she has given it to us. So you are a trailblazer, whether you've recognized it or not. It's in your DNA, or I don't believe that you'd be with us in Mary Kay right now, where we need women trailblazing straight to the top. If you have a leadership bent, we need you. If you don't have a leadership bent, could you please find some leaders? Your director's going to help you do that. Absolutely. And that is called passing it on, which Mary Kay Ash, she wasn't just a trailblazer for her own trail. She did this so that we would have a trail to walk on, but knowing that she couldn't know all the things that have happened in the last 62 years of this company, that everything would be shut down and our business that we prided on being in person could be revolutionized to be able to do it with the computer screen in between us. You guys, I look back at the times I was given an opportunity to make a traditional decision or an unconventional trailblazing decision. Definitely getting my starter kit that night. Post-dated check, not enough, more month than money. That was a risk, but you had electronic banking then, so I covered it. Also, too, Debbie Moore was there, and she had quit her teaching job with a pink Cadillac and a small child to be at home and make 4 times what she was making as a teacher. That was a trailblazing idea. I had not seen people go from their college-educated jobs to direct sales ever. That was pretty untraditional in the late 80s, definitely unconventional in my family. My family was not supportive. Family and friends were not supportive. In my first 36 months in Mary Kay, I signed up in Cleveland, went back to Michigan for 17 weeks while my husband went to the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center to become a federal agent. And then we found out we were stationed in Douglas, Arizona. And 1 year, 12 months after that, he was asked to be an instructor back at the Law Enforcement Training Center. So we moved to St. Simons Island, Georgia. My first 36 months, 4 states, 9 addresses, from Cleveland to Metro Detroit to right on the Mexican border, 9,000 people. Half didn't speak a word of English, and I didn't speak a word of Spanish. And then St. Simons Island, small golf resort island. A lot of people move there to have that pre-retirement life or a real laid back, beautiful life. So those 4 areas, 36 addresses, and my husband going through a super intense training program that if you failed any of the test, it was done. You were done. And he had waited 2 years to get this position. And then that 17 weeks of the academy. And then we got married and moved, his wife across the country. So that was trailblazing. That was very unconventional for his family. Mom, nurse, dad, teacher. You're going to realize, I hope, in the process of this study, that you are far more of a trailblazer and a pioneer than you've given yourself credit for. And that when God lays something on your heart, he always provides for it. always. It's just our responsibility to be obedient. And we know what obedience looks like in Mary Kay. It's book, coach, sell, recruit. Do it again. Book, coach, sell, recruit. Do it again. Whether you have a computer screen in between you or you're out with people. I can look at a couple different situations. All those moves. Did Queen's Court of Sales down in Douglas, Arizona, with a flip chart in Spanish and a brochure in Spanish. It made me realize that it wasn't my personality. I didn't have to be extroverted. I didn't have to be anything other than help those women feel better about themselves. Take a translator sometimes. They handed over cash and I handed over products and did Queen's Court of Sales and earned a car at the end of that year. And then my husband's job moved us. So I went to seminar, because you go to 4 events a year, because Trailblazers, we play by the rules of the game, but we're willing to figure out things because your journey is going to look different than anyone else's. But isn't that great? That is what allows us to do God first, family second, career third. See, if everyone's had to look the same, that balance would not be something that you would get to work with 100% of the time. And I guarantee you 100% of my 38 years, I've gotten to work with God first, family second, career third. Actually, this is where I met God. I knew who he was, but had no relationship. That all happened through Mary Kay. Wow, that's trailblazing right there for eternity. My son was born, fairly new director. My second year, just picked up my first Cadillac, had an emergency C-section, lived way away from family. So when people say family isn't supportive, or they live far away, or I don't have help with my kids, or it's a small town, or it's too big of a town, or I have another job. I had another job, 80 hours a week when I started this. I did a perfect start in 2 weeks, did the math and said, bye-bye. And from that day forward was responsible for figuring out how to make enough money to pay for either rent or now a mortgage, to earn a car. So I no longer had a car or insurance payment, to pay for groceries, electric, the whole deal. There's been seasons of my business that my husband's made more than enough money for a whole family to live on very comfortably, GS 14 position. But there is something about this opportunity that God said, no, this has nothing to do with what your husband makes or doesn't make. I need you staying forward focused to be a trailblazer here. And now I know why, because we're in a time period in Mary Kay, batons need to be passed. We need to be finding those women while you're doing your book, coach, sell, recruit, the 4-part recruiting plan. Be out there, in front of people with the product. Nothing happens until you sell something, but this is not about selling the product. We use the product as a vehicle to meet the trailblazers, and you will know who they are because they start to lean in when you're talking about the opportunity in Mary Kay's story and where you were when you started and where you're going to. People aren't used to hearing women talk about goals and dreams. I had never heard that. That was not something they taught me at the University of Michigan Business School. What's your dream? Conversation never happened. Thought never happened until I was in Mary Kay. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I have no idea. I really haven't thought about a dream. I want to give you guys a book because Mary Kay said one of the keys to success was to read every single day. She was politically incorrect. She said the Bible in the morning and an inspirational book at night or sometime in the afternoon. Schedule it. No one has time just laying around to read. It has to be scheduled. All of my reading time is scheduled. But the longer I've been in Mary Kay, the more I realize I have to continue changing my thinking because my DNA is trailblazing and pioneering. I now know, but I didn't know how to do it. You may not even know how to do it. You may not even know what you don't know. I guarantee you, if you will do the Mary Kay book, coach, sell, recruit, as your director teaches you, and do it again and again and again, and get your hands on all the books that Mary Kay has read, or someone has written about her so that you know about this ultimate trailblazer, she's going to sound a lot like you. And you're going to be excited to represent a company of trailblazers. But while you're out there, we need to be passing these batons on because women need this business as much or more than when Mary Kay had this laid on her heart 62 years ago. When my son was 3 months old, he had to have an open heart surgery, which was on an emergency basis. I left my home in June and was in Jacksonville, Florida for a week to stabilize him and then air ambulanced up to Ann Arbor, Michigan. I will tell you guys that was a huge turning point for me and my husband. I had Mary Kay directors drive in that weren't mine They were not part of my lineage. They just drove in and did my meetings and helped out while I was gone at the end of a Mary Kay seminar year. My husband was a federal agent with those golden handcuff insurance benefits that I talk about. And no one gave him vacation time. No one helped him out. Actually, it was before the Family Security Act. So he took work without pay. And the great insurance we had from the government, from him being a federal agent, would pay for open heart surgery for Jake in Jacksonville, Florida, but they would not necessarily pay for the air ambulance, which was, I don't know, a lot of money, tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars, because they said he could have his surgery there. But that was two open heart surgeries, two separate open heart surgeries versus one. There was a physician that had invented a one-step open heart surgery for infants for tetralogy of flow. And so, you know what? I did not have that money in a savings account, but as there was something with this business, like I knew I'd regret it if I didn't try it. I also knew I'd regret if I didn't try being a Cadillac director, and did do that 6 months as a new director in a town that no one did meetings in because the director that was there said that it was too small. She went up to Savannah or down to Jacksonville, Florida. Wow. I became a director and earned a Cadillac in 6 months. I was there on St. Simon's, for 15 years, earned 13 trips. It was the base to my $1 million units in national area, moved up to Detroit when God called me and my husband to come back home and again, trailblaze, because there was not any technology at that point in time. So I had to record all my training on cassette tapes and have 800 numbers and free conference call. I figured that all out myself. Like that was necessary. There's going to be stuff. God's going to give you strategic ideas. The book recommendation is Multiplying Your God-Given Potential by John Bevere, Bevere. I love this book because it's going to teach you how God works with strategic ideas. That was like dreams. I had never heard of that before. Also, too, it's all based on Matthew 30:14 through 25. And that is what Mary Kay, that's a lie. Matthew 25:14 through 30. Oh, I think I'm dyslexic and maybe a little ADD. And social anxiety for sure. So if those are anything that you've dealt with, this business is a great way to work through it without, it's going to save you drugs and lots of counseling. God's going to use this as a potter wheel. But Matthew 25:14 through 30, Mary Kay signed that on my dollar bill when I left her home at new director training a long time ago, 36 years ago. And that whole book is about that. It's about being willing to take a risk. It's about the parable of the talents and the person that buries their talents and doesn't use it to God's full potential for you. Not for what the world sees. The world may think that you're very successful and, you have it all made, but you know that you haven't taken the steps to throw your heart across a line to reach God's full potential for you towards your big dream. And Mary Kay, she told us more so than any accolade that we could achieve. She said, if you do not hear good and faithful servant at the end, then none of the other stuff is worthwhile. That was a trailblazing statement. I had never met a woman like Mary Kay before. That was as concerned about my spiritual and my personal, my marriage and my child rearing years as she was the success that I brought to this company. She's a trailblazer. She was a pioneer. You're a trailblazer. You're a pioneer. I cannot wait to see what you do with this new discernment, focus, transformation, and work. Work hard, trust God, dream big, to see what that turns into by Career Conference and then Seminar 2025. You guys, thank you for participating. Don't squander this opportunity. This time frame is important in Mary Kay, and you're part of it for a reason.
Okay. What did you guys think? I took some notes. You know what? It's kind of interesting. It's so I don't know, fun, but when you hear about somebody that is so used to doing something, running a business a certain way, and then that pandemic hit, and you either pivot or you don't pivot. Like you either figure it out or you don't figure it out. I love that she kept going, but going back, just like she said, it's in the DNA. Our trailblazing DNA is there, and the willingness and the coachability. That's a question that I'm going to challenge you all with. Do you have willingness? I mean, willingness means being open to hearing something you don't want to hear, getting ideas that are not something you're doing right now. Are you coachable? If you're coachable, you're not only going to be willing to hear them, but you're going to be willing to try them. You're going to be willing to listen to somebody outside of yourself who is going to mentor you and love on you and give you ideas that are different from what you're doing. Don't be so quick to say that works for you, but it'll never work for me, or that's really good that you do that. Just be willing to try something different. Don't be so closed-minded. Be coachable, be trainable, be stretchable. Because I'll tell you what, like she said, if God laid it on your heart, it's there for you. He's going to make a way, but maybe the way that he's making for you, excuse me, is through somebody's coaching. But are you listening? Are you coachable? Are you trainable? You must be obedient. I love it. I took tons of notes. I'm going to look up that book she suggested. I'll put it in our comments. But I'm so excited. I loved her, Dawn Otten Sweetie. I hope you enjoyed it too. I want to thank Faye Thomas for turning in her weekly accomplishment sheet. Yay! And we will, I know, celebrate all of you next week. It is a holiday today, which I think the weekly accomplishment sheets were due in on like Saturday or Sunday at the latest. So congratulations to Faye for turning hers in. I know the rest of you are totally able to do that. And you may not even really know how to do it if you're not keeping track. I know I got some phone calls today from a consultant who was at the tax preparers and, thinking that they could write off the products they order. So the products you order, those aren't a tax write-off. The shipping is a tax write-off. If you're traveling to somebody's house, that mileage is a write-off. But make sure you're tracking your customers, you guys, and putting their orders in under their name with the date they order from you. Then everything will be very easy to just reconcile in your weekly accomplishment sheet. I know it's tricky, but you own a business. So that's a great way to then print out a report at the end of the year. So there you go. I hope you loved it. Let's be trailblazers this week. And I love you guys. Have a great week. Talk to you later. Bye.